You opened up the panel talking about sort of what COVID accelerated, right? So I think we were kind of already down this path of, all of the, the streamers that weren't launched had all sort of like put their, stakes in the ground and with planned rollouts over the course of this year. And it was interesting to have this very focused attention and this sort of like, this appetite that we hadn't seen from consumers for content. We were sitting in front of screens. We were trying to figure out what to watch next. We had exhausted everything on our bingeable list. And consumers were quickly becoming really savvy, right? Sort of the education of consumers in terms of how to find exactly what they were looking for. This really accelerated. And a lot of times when we talk about consumers, we're thinking about folks who are positioned like us on either coast and who, sort of are in the industry like we are. But I was in sort of like these individual focus groups of one or two, really compelled by how, like folks in middle America, my parents are from the South, and how just savvy everyone was in terms of, okay, what is that thing that I'm looking for? How do I being able to navigate their connected device, understanding, sort of like apps and services that I wasn't even aware of. And it's like, wow, this is a consumer that is so in demand. And this isn't just sort of super affluent audiences, on either coast. This is across demographics, across, sort of like socioeconomic spreads. And so with our FAST channel, we're distributed on a lot of AVOD platforms, Pluto, Tubi, Peacock. And
just to be fast, free ad-supported television, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so, we talk a lot about the SVOD consumption and that hockey stick, but consumers do understand the value proposition and the trade-off. And so while there is, I can watch this ad-free and I can get the super premium tier of content by, shelling out $9.99, $14.99, $17.99, there's this other opportunity here to really sort of like lean back in a linear experience often, right, with some on-demand options, and kind of not think about it. And so I was surprised to see, as we've sort of like talked about SVOD as being this AVOD killer, how strong these AVOD services have been in the market right now. And then, the other thing that I think was accelerated by this in terms of the content that's showing up on all of these platforms, this sort of racial reckoning which sparked in content, what I've been calling this inclusion revolution. We're actually starting to see the dial move in the amount of representation on screen, and to see tangible shifts where we weren't seeing anything quantifiable for years and years, and actually to be able to move the marker on that, it just shows sort of like what an accelerator this time has been, this sort of like unprecedented attention, demand. And, I think consumers had a real voice, right? The general public had a real voice here that everyone had to listen to. So those are some of the big sort of leaps that we observed.